Welcome back to Core Conversations. I'm here with Todd. Todd, how are you?
Doing great. So happy to be here today. It's been a little while. I'm excited to talk and catch up. So
you're always happy to be here because that's your disposition. You are that. For people that know you on a personal level, they know that you have that. You do have that like West Coast kind of laid back surfer vibe, right?
Listen, I will take you surfing. Yes. The first thing I meet you, I would be like, come on, let's go surf. You're like, I never surf. So what? I'll throw you in the ocean on a big board. You'll survive.
I know. I'm shark food, but more so than a surfer. But I love it, though. It's cool. For the audience, if you don't know and you haven't warmed up quite yet to Todd Smith, he's the CEO and founder of QoreAI. But really, Todd's known for decades of innovation in automotive technology. Seriously, from dealership operations, yes, he's a retail guy who then also became a service provider. You could call it vendor guy, and he's had tons of startup success. He's created all kinds of things like industry first tools. He's the first person I ever knew that went out and created an awesome chat platform for dealers. He's recognized as a speaker and he's speaking all over the place. If you're in the dealer world, look for him. He'll be at NADA this year or later this year. I guess that would technically it's going to be 26, but you can find him all over the place because he's deeply connected with roots that go into the ground deeply in our industry. Fixed ops, marketing technology, data platforms. And today's kind of a special episode because I told Todd that I thought it would be a really good idea to scoop up a bunch of questions that come up a lot, whether they come from dealers engaging with him on LinkedIn. If you don't follow him there, you should. If they come up when he's doing all of these live events and speaking with dealers and industry folks, we thought, you know what, let's put a batch of questions together and let's answer them on the podcast. So that's where we're starting today. Todd, are you ready?
I hope I am ready for this. So I'm good. Let's make it happen. Hit me with my questions and let's see how it goes.
I know. We'll see. It's almost like we're going to test you, see how good
you are.
How good you're doing.
Am I really knowledgeable about QoreAI? I mean, this is what this comes down to. I don't want my guys to like be prodding me in the back. You know, like you should have known that question. Why did you answer it that way? So
that's right. That's right. And we could test you against. We've seen your stuff out there with virtual Todd too. So
yes, my digital twin. It's getting some activity. It's pretty wild. I keep telling people, go talk to Digital Twin Todd if you don't want to call and get sucked up into a demo. Go ask Digital Twin. I'll answer any questions about QoreAI. Super easy to use. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. So
yes, I may have actually been testing your voice with 11 Labs and trying to make it even sound exactly like you.
I really, 11 Labs is super cool. I've wanted to get in there. And did you see HeyGen is doing the full synthetic, like you record a video? And then I was like, oh my gosh, could I train a true synthetic Todd beyond my digital twin to enter my Zoom meetings and actually ask, like, maybe I start with like the developer meeting or something like low risk. But then at a point, could the full synthetic enter and do a demo with a dealer and I'm not there?
If it's not, it's probably not quite there visually yet, but audio, and you and I have talked about this, it's there. That example of the guy who's looking for the VR set, and like we talked about that 2 years ago, 18 months ago, that was the first time where a natural conversation AI kind of blew my mind and a lot of people's mind. Like, whoa, it just went through the nuance of somebody who's kind of on the fence. Hey, this is too expensive. And then presented different options that got the deal. Like, so that part, is there.
Yeah. It's there. It's getting so exciting because I'm like, I think we're months away from just being transformational. And that's like,
yes.
I'm like a kid in a candy store, man. I'm just constantly like, oh, let's test this. Let's see if we can make it work. And look, some stuff's not going to work, but I think it's the experimentation that I'm so caught up in right now.
It's a wildly amazing, slightly terrifying era that we're living in, and there's no way there's no around, there's no over, there's no under. It's just through, and it's better to know all that you possibly can as we all go through it. And that's why answering these questions today will be great for dealers. So let's get right to it. I want to know from you, because the audience all over the internet has asked this question. What's the biggest profit leak that you see in dealership data today?
Ooh, biggest profit leak is definitely being drifted out of marketing currently. And what I mean by that is by not having the data cleaned and continually hygiened and updated and even
Mm,
enhanced, you're really missing huge opportunities. It's not uncommon for a dealer's DMS that 40% of the people in there, if you pull a list out of there, are no longer even driving those cars. It's not uncommon if you pull a list out of your CRM and go to try to email market to them, 30% of them will bounce. So we find that that data integrity is at the center of leakage for dealers. And this could be marketing, it could be reporting. All of these things are tied to organize and accurate data.
mm. So true. Like it. Okay, so the next one is AI projects within automotive retail specifically. Right now, there's probably a unacceptable fail rate. And so the question that everybody wants to know is, from your perspective, why do most of these AI projects fail in automotive retail?
Again, great question. So as we break that down a little bit, we're trying to apply AI to processes that aren't really ready for AI. And what I mean by that, we see AI going into automotive right now, a lot of voice tools you've seen. And what they're doing is accelerating dealership bad processes. So you put an AI agent to answer phones in service, it can't answer the customer's questions. It just aggravates them more. You're just pouring gas on a process that AI will not solve by itself. You first have to kind of back up. You have to have a really redefined process in the age of AI. Then you apply the tech. So the number one thing I look at today of where AI continues to falter in our industry is we're trying to apply it to old thinking, old workflows and processes, when we first should start, don't even care about AI, care about your workflow. And is it the most optimized consumer-centric workflow that's repeatable? Once you get to that level, then you can start to look to use AI to enhance a portion or all of that flow.
Mm. You're like a prophet when it comes to helping people know like that what's coming. Like always making sure that they understand with clarity the message. And I think that's one of the things that is making you stand out as a leader when it comes to this particular topic, because what people really need is information that doesn't come with bias, and you're not, you're just telling people, like, if you've got messy, disconnected data, how are you going to expect that you're going to have anything other than failure or falter? And I love that. And I also love your thoughts on they're just pouring gas on that fire, because it makes me imagine a dumpster fire that the dealer's like, how do we get this thing out? And like they think that they just got the right solution, but it's just a 5 gallons of gas on the wrong fire. Yeah. So, well, I'm going to move you on to another. I think this is also a really good question, because dealers need insights on how to find things. In this particular case is, how do you spot dead data, as you like to refer to it as? How do you spot that dead data in a CRM? And maybe even your perspective on what's that costing the dealership?
Yeah, so look, spotting's pretty easy. If you go into your CRM today, pull a report, customer report or lead report, try to call the number, send an email. If you see bounces or bad numbers, you already know as a percentage, very basically, the quality of the data that's in the system. And the older the data is, the older those leads, the more the erosion is to the quality of that data. So pretty easy to spot check. Same in the DMS. You can go in, pull a list of 100 customers, call the customers. If you have a BDC or internet department, or you just have a sales team that's sitting around on a beginning of the month and they're not amped up yet, ready to sell, good. Give them a quick assignment, call a bunch of people, and just see the integrity of your data. Now, you could do it. We do it automatically. We take a data set from a dealer. They can give us up to 1,000 of their records. We'll match it against all the data we have and known data. So we give them an instant report. But you could do this yourself. You don't need us to help you do it. But there's obviously options for you, because we not only want to look at the data, what percentage of email addresses are good that you have, bad, what percentage of phone numbers are accurate, home addresses, do they still own the car? We also, we try to go a little bit further when we look at the data, and if we get a strong enough data set from a dealer, how many of these customers are repeat customers to the dealership? How many have only bought cars from the dealer and never serviced? How many people have only serviced but never bought a car? All of these, to me, are unique segments that a dealer could leverage with really pinpointed communication as well. So to me, again, data hygiene's a pretty clear process. And it's a continuous process. And I think the most important thing to take away from this question in my mind is it's not a do it once and it's done. It's not a do it once a year and it's done. It has to be done continuously, month in, month out, because data is highly fluid.
I love that. And also for dealers who are literally operating on giant piles of dead data, expecting a result of the era that we're living in, which gets people excited, but they don't realize that you will never be able to accomplish many or all of those types of things when the foundation of your reality is data that's actually clean, and the hygiene of your data is so connected to your success and operations. Okay, so the next question, I know this one, I've seen this from people many, many times, and it gets into the realm of CDPs. And I tell you this all the time, but you're one of the people that has kind of that, you're willing to be contrarian in your thought processes and your constructive criticisms around things, whether they're considered, some people think it's buzzword central, like more CDP stuff. It's not. There are these things out there, but the forces that want to push new things into any vertical, in this case, the ones that love the CDP realm without really asking questions or knowing enough, end up confusing the retail part of our industry more than they end up helping them or complementing what they're trying to get done. So this particular question is pretty straightforward. What's the difference between a CDP and real dealership intelligence?
Oh, do we have an No, honestly, this is a pretty simple answer. So a CDP for us is, it's considered a customer data platform. That's their technical name. It is yet another siloed database. It's designed very specifically to bring data out of different systems, put it together, create segments to market to. That's what it's designed to do. So think of your CRM, and let's use Vin as an example. It has AMP. Same basic concept, right? Like you have your CRM, data comes out, it's segmented, and it's market to. Maybe you could say even automotive masterminds, right? Like they do equity mining, but they also let you segment data to create audiences and target people. The stuff's been around a long time, and now they just added a different name to it. But the real reality is, dealers have been doing segment marketing for 25 years. So nothing's really new there. It's just a new acronym against it. But to me, it's creating a new silo. That's the problem. We don't need more siloed data. So the intelligence side is you're aggregating all the data. And listen, activating marketing is a small portion of it. But the real reality is, I think we live in a time, nobody wants more reports or dashboards. What we want is intelligence. What's going on? What should I be looking at? Are there some problems right around the turn? Hey, what are the top 10 customers right now I should be talking to that might defect? What customers are right now in market that are in my DMS? There's a lot of intelligence that can be brought out of the dealership systems to help them make decisions. And I think a world we live in today is these tools act, this data intelligence acts as a collaborative tool to the retail process. I think in near term, we're going to see that transform into these systems being able to take the actions on behalf of us and come back for us for feedback. It'll be like, hey, I spotted these 10 customers. I already sent messages to them. 3 people set appointments. What do you want to do next? And you're like, oh, yeah, this sounds great. And I think this is the world we're entering into where the intelligence will go from what do I do next? Go do it for me. Now just help me monitor all the tough blind spots. There's something where I absolutely need a human in the loop to interact with the customer, most likely. The data that surrounds it, I think a lot of that's going to get automated. So this is where I think there's a very divergent understanding between a CDP, basic marketing database, and a data intelligence layer that's operating across all the data that your business is producing.
I love that answer. Okay, the next place that I want to just tap your brain is behavioral signals.
Ooh.
For dealers, I don't know that they are thinking in those terms, behavioral signals, as much as they should be. But the era that we're in right now, they're literally everywhere if you have the right things in place. So how would you say that dealers could use behavioral signals to drive more sales? And perhaps just for an extra spin, even like this month in September, how would you advise a dealer on that?
Yeah, look, the first place, obviously, you can score all the inbound leads. Are these people truly in market? Are they still shopping mode? Or are they high funnel tire kickers? Instantly identifying where people are at based on not just they submitted a lead, but exterior data and understanding. What is their affordability? How secure are they in their job? Did they just get married? Did they buy a house? Did they just have a baby? There's lots of human factors that are determining the actions and activities we're about to take. So, using big data, we can start to understand that. And then that can be trickled down over the dealer's data and the data intelligence to create actions. So that's one thing I think it's super critical as we talk about this. The other side, when I look at this, is all the personas. So think about behavioral data. Everybody's kind of lumped into what we have is like 75 different personas. So a persona is something that easy to understand. A single parent makes sub $50,000 a year, 2 children in house, has a stable job, lives in this area, likes dogs, and obviously dreams of better wear, whatever it is. And the most personas we have probably 2,000 plus attributes that categorize them. So, and then the other extreme could be 65 plus, wealthy, champagne tastes, empty nest couple, kind of living their best life, make well over $400,000 a year in passive income, blah, blah, blah. So I think because by IDing these personas, it also allows us to tie the right communication to those people. Meaning, look, if I know what persona they are, I can easily now figure out what are the words that drive action for that type of person. Think about that. Once you've sold cars, right? Once you know the person you're sitting across from, you understand in their language what is driving them to make decisions. And I think persona data is designed to do that. And we have lots of it today. It's readily available. AI just amplifies it and makes it highly usable in the world of automotive.
It's great advice. Helping dealers understand that their focus should actually be on a much smaller percentage of people, like getting people through buying signals gets you to the people that are really in market. And there is something to be said for that journey of people. Some people start way out. Other people closer, how you need to operate. Those are good points of advice there, Mr. Smith. Okay, what's the most overrated tech trend in the industry right now?
Oh, okay. I can't wait for all the hate mail flying my way on LinkedIn DMs for this. But
I'll
um,
defend you.
okay, look, I would say, voice AI, though a real problem, right? Look, dealers don't pick up their phone. So there is a true problem there.
Mhm.
But the voice AI we see today, super hype. I'm not sure we're seeing the results out of it. I've talked to a bunch of dealers. They seem to turn them on and turn them off really quick. And I think because it's only amplifying bad processes, which we talked about before. But what I'm really seeing is, think about it this way. So, and this is not a technology problem. This is a business process problem. And we're trying to make technology, AI in general, fix bad processes or broken processes at the retail level. And that's not going to work. It's like putting new tires on a car with a broken axle. Really doesn't fix the car. So you got to fix the underpinnings first before you kind of add the accoutrements onto it, which the better tires. So when we look at this, and let's take service since we're talking about that, or I mentioned it briefly. So yes, AI is great at setting appointments for new customers. But now I want AI to go access the DMS and book a service appointment. So the AI is going to look at the phone number and go try to match it. But what happens if the phone number, like it's the husband on that car, but the wife had brought the car in previous, so she is actually on the ownership of that VIN in the DMS, or their child brought it in. Like now there's multiple people attached to it. So the AI accessing the raw DMS data, problem one, and creates more confusion than good. Second, the vast majority of calls coming into stores on a daily, what are they? They're not new appointments. They're status calls. Again, how will the AI know where the car is at in the repair process?
Hmm.
It can't because the service advisor opens an RO in the morning when you come in. The RO is open. I don't know, like they're not closing pieces of the ticket as they go. And what happens if 3/4 of the way through that RO, he needs a part, doesn't have it? They goes to the part counter. That guy calls the part delivery truck. He pulls your car off the lift, puts it to the side, puts another car up because again, shop hours. So, and now the AI is how it's going to figure that out. It's not because
Mhm.
our processes do not align to this technology today. So again, this is like throwing gas on a already blazing fire. It's just going to go boom, and it's going to create more bad consumer experiences quicker. So
Mm.
that would be, I think there's a lot of hype around that. I think there's also a lot of hype around just automation in general. Like, can we completely automate a BDC process? Maybe. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the outbound call tool work. Can it respond to emails, text? Yes, with caveats that I've already seen some of them get a little wonky because what I've currently seen in auto, again, I try to look at lots of products and I'm always curious. And what I see currently is people that have built wrappers around ChatGPT.
Mm.
And and listen, it's okay. It's a starting spot. But now they're trying to sell that as full-fledged AI into the dealer. And they're doing a disservice to what AI actually is and can do. And the real reality is I wouldn't want all my dealer data exposed to the underlying LLM. Now, they may say, well, we built our own LLM. No, you didn't. You didn't spend billions of dollars to build an foundational LLM. So even to say that is complete crock of crap. So these are the things where it's like, okay, you spun up a RAG, cool. Tell us about your RAG. How does it actually operate? Like, what's your training guardrails around it? Because think about it, like these systems are designed in a way that, you know, they have to have very tight parameters to work. And when you leave it open, I think we're going to see a lot of problems in our business before
Mhm.
we get to the good stuff. It's like normal, right? We're gonna have to slodge through the mud to get to the event site, which is a really well-running AI system. So a lot of hype in our industry now. Just listen, remember 1998 and the internet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
we lived through
That's
it.
it.
Yeah, even up into
Yeah.
2000 until it blew up. Now, I don't see this blowing up in the same way though as a person who's watching it. I see it's just going to evolve so fast that the blow up's not really going to happen. Like we had that cold period for like a year with the internet, and then after 2020 or 2001, it kind of started coming back. And but it took a lot. It took 20 years, right, for it to really become infrastructure into our lives. The problem is, I
Yeah.
believe this AI is going to be infrastructure in our lives within less than 5 years, completely. It'll
Yeah.
permeate everything we do, touch, interact with. We'll have AI at the center of it.
I love that you help us be reminded of the past. The internet's a great example of it. There are so many things to point to where it's like kind of history repeating itself, and how long it takes for things to mature to the point where like, hey, this is useful, it's helpful, or we all understand it. And this kind of is a really good segue in how I want to ask this next question, because the way that it came up as I was preparing for this episode was, what's the one thing every GM should do with their data before buying new tech? Now, that's the question. I want to add to it that most GMs, and you know this because you speak at 20 groups and NADA and all of the industry, and you've been doing this for many, many years, even before starting up QoreAI. General managers have so much pressure now. It just continues because not only is it how do I operate this store, it's how do I do it when it's nothing but avalanche after avalanche of new technology and ideas, and then all of the, call them what you want, the voices that emerge that are pushing one thing or another. It's fair, for at least from my perspective, and I think you agree with this, to say that general managers have so much, it's kind of unnecessary pressure from all of these outside sources who are experts in, so-called experts in what they do, that they have to understand all of these things before they make a decision that could be catastrophic. It could cost them their job. It could cost them the opportunity to maybe be able to buy into the store or to the group. And I wanted to just set this up a little bit more because I think it's so important. I think that there are more general managers out there than would ever raise their hand, want to know what's kind of that thing that I should be doing and looking at relative to my data before I make a decision on new tech. So that's the setup. I think it's,
Okay,
I love
great
this
setup.
question.
I love this. So I give this advice to every general manager. I say, do you have ChatGPT? Do you use it? And then I say, how do you use it? And I think there is a deeply powerful lesson that forget buying tech for your store. You need to learn and use this technology yourself in a way that you are in the top 10% of users. Now, I will say this, 90% of people use these tools wrong currently. A Stanford study just came out. We're using them as one-shot prompts, like write me an email. Like that's not how it works. You have to give it context. You have to give it understanding. Say, hey, ask me a couple questions so you can provide a better answer. Once you provide that answer, I want you to do this, that, and this. Like you have to give it the whole, just like you would give an employee instructions. And before I sent you off to go do the job, Sean, I would say, Sean, do you have any questions? And you'd be like, well, I think I got it, but I'm curious about this, 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 and this. And I would answer those things. Again, building this layer. I think dealers, GMs especially, have to use the tech in this way, really understand prompts right now. Now, this could change in the next couple of years, but today, to actually learn to use this technology yourself to be more personally efficient and effective. Like, how about and I did a presentation about this, which was fun, where I talked about like how to coach a troubled sales manager. Like, how do you build that, right? All the way down to the script when you're talking with them, and then how do you hold them accountable on the other end? Or how do I analyze my own inventory? Like, what do you need to know? What questions do you need to ask me? This is what I'm trying to do. Help me to do that. And I believe where, we're just asking it like, show me my cars that are aging. Like, that's not helpful. Like, to me, I want to get deep in understanding. And LLMs are really good at predicting what happens next, right? That's really what they are. It predicts the next letter, predicts the next word, the sentence, paragraph, concept. So I think you can leverage these tools far more. So I think that dealers don't buy any AI. Become a student of this technology yourself to increase your own personal effectiveness. So my ambition for myself when I started in January this year, new year, new mind, my mind was I want to 10x myself this year. And I had a very clear path to do this. One, I don't want to be bogged down in email anymore because we spend way too much time in email. So I ended up using, and very transparently, a thing called Fixer.ai that is analyzing my emails, quickly writing responses, etc. I, like you and many other managers, get caught up in a ton of meetings. I use a thing called Lindy. It analyzes the person I'm having the meeting with before I ever go there. I get a text and an email 10 minutes before, gives me all the interactions I've had with this person, so I can walk into a meeting absolutely prepared. It's like having a virtual assistant literally in my ear saying, hey, this person's been at this company 38 years. You've exchanged 17 emails. This is what you've covered. This is what the agenda of this meeting is about. Here's how to stay on path. So I think we need to use these tools ourselves before we ever try to buy it. How can you buy a car if you've never driven one? Like,
Right.
you wouldn't even know like what makes a car good, right? And this is the point where it's like, I get all this tech. You want to put it into your dealership because you want to win, but it requires you learning to win first.
Yeah.
And then I say, do that first. Then you train your internal team to do the same thing. Out of this, the ideas will start coming on where you apply AI inside your dealership.
I love that, because the general managers that follow that advice, I think that many, if not all, would find themselves invigorated by this new opportunity to build team and to start something that refreshes that excitement and opportunity. Like, we get in ruts, and it doesn't matter what you do and the industry that you're in. For you and I, and for the average general manager, I mean, I've never met a general manager that just got into the car business 5 days before they took their GM job. They've been in it a long time. And
Right.
anytime you're in something for a long time, if you are not naturally, your disposition is always looking for things that refresh and fill up your tank with excitement about the opportunities in front of us, that's difficult for everybody that's in something for a long time. But here we are, and your answer just, I think, puts a spotlight on, not only is it really important for every GM to get involved and start using this, and not just like, I'm making an action figure of myself, not the lazy thing that everybody is like, oh, it's
no lazy prompt, Sean. No lazy
like,
prompt. Stop building action figures, dude. It's stupid.
It's like, I don't mind if people want to use AI like it's a toy, like a tech toy. That's fine. What I mind is when people don't see what, like you're talking about here, is there's a whole other opportunity. It's not just, hey, I figured out how to take something that used to take me 2 hours. Now I can do it in 20 minutes. Great. Why don't you take a little bit more time and have a longer conversation and understand prompting, so that you could actually feed enough information into this same tool that you're using to find $250,000 of profit back into your business this year or this quarter, right?
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that you're talking about and advocating, and it's the reason why there's a difference between listening to your advice than others. Okay, so keep going. I got a couple more before I'm
Okay.
gonna like shut this one down. Um, how this is difficult, I think, with sales teams. How do you get your skeptical sales team to buy in with some of these things?
Start small. Look, in the end, salespeople are. This is going to be the uncomfortable part of this transition of bringing AI in. Old school people are not going to want to change. Just like old school people didn't get cellular phones. What happened to them? They either got cellular phones or they're not doing this stuff any longer, right?
Hmm.
It's just it's transitionary, and I think look, there's people who will be on the team because they have high fidelity and adaptability. That's what you want today. We're entering a time and space in life where technology is so rapidly changing that you'll need people that can get comfortable being uncomfortable. There will be no more growing roots and doing the same thing over and over again. The change is happening at such a prolific rate. I just don't see how we did business yesterday is how we'll do business tomorrow. And it drives me a little bonkers when I hear dealers like, we're going back to the old way, the old school. I was like, that's gone. There's only present, right? There is no future, there's no past, there's like right now, and operating and with the data you have today to be as effective as you can today. And I think, look, what was it? You can't train a duck to be an eagle. And I
Darn it.
think I think it's the same with people. Like as much as you want to jam people into a role, some people are just not going to be built for this.
Yeah.
And you're going to need look, you're going to need an adaptable person, someone who has a open mindset. If you have staff that is still stuck in that fixed mindset mentality, they are going to get pushed aside no matter what. And
Yeah.
you could try as much, you can put as much resource and effort into a fixed mindset person. You're still not going to change them. So I think, it's not a trick answer to this question, but I think the deep answer to it is focus on the people who want to change and adapt and let the others matriculate out of your system like organically or, through brute force where no, we're going to hire people and, I'm hiring a personality, not a skill set anymore.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
with these tools, think about it, Sean, I can amp your skill set to expert level.
Hmm.
It's almost, I'm not going to say it's like Matrix, right? I can't pop into your brain and teach you Taekwondo,
Yeah.
but I could sit and right now, you and I could be a PhD level researcher
Hmm.
in biology or some protein synthesis, right? We have
Yes.
no experience in it. And we could use a GPT to be as effective as a top college PhD student. So I
Yeah.
think, and this is that whole point where common knowledge, how to sell something, do all that value has gone to zero. It's all readily available. But what's not zero, high fidelity, adaptability, and willingness to keep changing and growing. And if you plug that personality into the resource of AI, you get superhumans.
Hmm. That'll get buy-in from the skeptics for sure. I love that. Giving them those options early and often, so that they kind of feel like they're along for the ride before it's a surprise. But I also love that you point out the fact that sometimes that means that some pruning needs to be done. If you want to yield the best crop for the best type of wine you're trying to make, then you're going to have to make some
Yeah.
cuts.
Great grapes get squashed, man.
Yes,
Unfortunately. Yeah. And
yes,
look, I say it lightheartedly, like nobody wants to fire people. Nobody wants to go through that. But your job, look, as a GM, it's organizational. You're
yeah,
responsible for 5 profit centers, not one, 5. And with lots of people, lots of families, and ultimately you have to do what's best organizationally. And that
Mhm.
sometimes requires very hard conversations. And that's okay to
100%.
have, but
Yeah.
there's a deep requirement. You sit in that seat for a reason, and it's because you have the skill and tenacity to do it. So a lot
Yeah.
of it's just execution.
Yeah, it's a good point. And most people don't come into these jobs as managers where they do have to hire people or make that decision, or the firing is probably
Right.
even more critical. They don't come into it with any training. No one ever taught them, hey, this might help you. There's a difference between making a decision to have to let someone go that's a personal decision versus a business decision. There might be people who are like the most fantastic individuals. You love them. They're a great person in their community. They go to take their family to church, all the good things that they could be doing as just a good person, a good citizen. But that might be terrible for your company or the role that you're trying to, and there may not be another role. And so it's not a personal thing, it's a business thing. How many times did you ever, when you were a young guy, uh, wish you would have had people that would have or a system or some knowledge that would have taught you those types of skills? So love all
Yeah.
that. Okay, two more. What is, and I remember where this one came from. I think what people really want is maybe even something that's from your journey so far with Core AI. But the question is, what's a real world example of AI moving the needle? And specifically, they wanted to know fast or moved it pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay. AI moving a needle very quickly. I'm going to lean into service. I'll give you a couple of use cases. First is transitioning people between warranty and customer pay. It's a massive fall off where customers were on their vehicle was under warranty. Warranty's going to expire. They stop coming to the store. So you have a 3-4 month window before that happens. Targeting those people, AI is really good at spotting them, analyzing them, and then ultimately get them in for that last repair, and then set up. Hey, your warranty's about to expire. You'll be transitioning to customer pay, but it's not that expensive. Compared, you don't want to use a shade tree mechanical. Hey, we do the work even after the warranty ends. Like some people don't know that. They're like, oh, my warranty ends. I can't take it there anymore. So I think there's easy to use AI to find this segment really fast, to go after them. Another thing which I love, also service related, is monitoring all your sales and IDing if they have a first service appointment scheduled. Now,
Mm.
some brands, they don't need it for a length of time, right? They don't need it for a year or 8 months, but the system should be monitoring them and then injecting and a reach out at the point where, hey, it's about time for this customer to come in for service. Because look, selling a car is your first impression point. But the next impression point is the first service experience. So you want to make it as exciting as the purchase. You don't want to just treat them like cattle when they come in, because this is to me a key threshold opportunity to reinvigorate, put a private note from the owner. Hey, super happy to see you back in today, Sean, for your first service appointment. I hope it went amazingly well. We did everything you needed. We're here to help you with your vehicle ownership journey. And we thank you for being part of whatever, Todd Smith Toyota. So I think these are a couple areas that you could easily use AI. The other one, which I love, we've been working on, is around, I believe that dealers struggle, used car managers especially, appraising cars that are not brand. Meaning, I'm a Toyota store, guy comes in with an F-150. Average dealer is going to go, I don't know, let me look on MMR. Maybe you'll get sort of close to the number. Maybe you'll look at the market, what they're selling for, and you put some arbitrary number on it. And then you take it to the Ford store and it needs $1,200 worth of work. And you just like, what? I had no idea what the recon was going to be on this thing. So it took 3.2 million ROs, but for us to analyze that and go, oh, if you see a 2019 Ford F-150 with between 60 and 75,000 miles, these are most likely the repairs that are being done on vehicles in that age range. So if I see that up front, I can ask the customer, hey, did you do brakes? Did you do a transmission loss? Whatever it is, I can ask. And if you didn't, I know what it cost in today's dollars. So I think, again, using AI for very fast wins in sales, in service. Obviously, there's many others. We could sit here all day and talk about different use cases, but my goal is biggest bang for buck right away. Also decline service. So constantly monitoring decline service and looking to reconnect up with those people, to me, also is another no-brainer. I have a lot of use cases maybe in service in today's conversation because it's such a profit driver organizationally. I didn't even mention recalls. Like, you could be scanning all inbound appointments. I see an open recall that triggers an event for somebody to call that customer before they're standing in your service drive, where you go, hey, welcome in, Sean. Oh, you have an open recall. You want to do that too. And you're like, dude, I just came in for an oil change. I got to pick up my kids. Now, how long is that going to take? And instead of causing me strain and stress at that point, 2 days before, I could have called up and said, hey, Sean, I see you're coming in on Friday. Notice that you have an open safety recall. Is that something? And the system has already checked to make sure those parts are available. Is that something you want to go ahead and get fixed while you're in, on Friday? So I think we can use AI in a lot of these scenarios really effectively to create better consumer experience, as well as deliver a greater financial value to the store.
Those are all really good examples of being able to make movement quickly. And I think sometimes that's the barrier to not just interest, but certainly entry for a lot of the decision makers and dealers is like, well, how fast can we get some good results? How fast can we get to things that for a lot of reasons actually confirm that you made the right decision? Again, kind of goes back to that whole, helping dealers, helping the GMs especially accelerate their understanding so that they can actually accelerate how this will benefit their business. Okay, last question I've got for you.
No worries.
If you could fix, which for people who are following along, by the way, there's at least 10 more. We made a top 20 list. So there will be another episode where we will go through more questions. And if you have a question that you would like to ask and it has not, like, you haven't seen it or you haven't heard it yet, this would be a good time, especially if you're consuming this content somewhere where it's a clip from the podcast or the full version, is to drop a question in the comments. We'd love to add it to a future episode. Last question, Todd. If you could fix one thing, let's call it data and AI related, in our industry overnight, snap of the fingers, what would it be?
Oh, let me think
Without
about that one.
causing a fight or some sort of
fixed data. I'm going to say data accessibility inside legacy systems. Make it more universally available, which could make it more interoperable. So I think accessibility. I think we have a lot of walled gardens and limited access to data that will stymie AI. It will also stymie dealership profitability, customer experience, and ultimate operational efficiency and success. So I'm going to lean in there. I'm just going to say accessibility to all the dealerships' data in their legacy systems.
That's been a thing for a few years.
Well, you asked me the genie wish. That's like a 20, 30-year problem. So
I know you've been wanting that, not overnight. You've been wanting that. Many people, I think you would have a fan club.
Listen, I think I'm not the only wisher of that particular wish.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah,
you are not. No, I think you're in good company, but for good reason. So if that doesn't seem like to the audience listening and or viewing, if that doesn't seem like that would be the thing you would want to change overnight, I would just have to say, well, what's wrong with you? Because that would help in so many ways that we probably couldn't count them all.
Yep.
Well, we just found another place to park an episode. To the audience, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. We never want to waste it. We always want to make these conversations helpful. You can get insights tapping right into the subject matter expertise of somebody who's been in and around and still stays all over the industry, really for dealers' benefit, right? To the industry's benefit. That's who Todd is. So, Todd, thanks for another awesome episode. If you want more core conversations, well, hit the YouTube channel. You can see all the episodes there. You also are missing out if you do not follow Todd Smith on LinkedIn. You should also follow QoreAI on LinkedIn. You will see that Todd is, to use a word that Todd used earlier in the episode, prolific. He is. We should add like a Pee-wee's Adventure. Remember Pee-wee had to have a word of the day, but that was just all silliness. But for older people that would remember Pee-wee's Playhouse, you know what I'm talking about. But prolific is the word of the day that we didn't plan, but we're just kind of ending the episode on. Todd is prolific with the amount of content that he puts out, sharing abundantly. And I think that's one of the things that people really appreciate about you, Todd. So thanks for another great episode. Thanks to the audience for tuning in for another episode. We will be back here before you know it for another core conversation. Thanks.